So, hello everyone, welcome to Exampur. I hope you're doing well. So, please hurry up to join the session and please do share the session as well. So, Divya Mishra, very good evening, and please do let me know. Am I audible and visible? I think I'm audible as well as visible. So, yes, yesterday we have been discussed about the fundamental rights of Article 12 and 13, but about Article 13 we have not discussed about completely, because Article 13 clause 1, 2 and 3 and clause 4 we have discussed about Article 13 clause 1, 2 and 3, and we have left the Article 13 clause 4. Okay, so I hope so I'm just hoping that yesterday's classes, which is very important and very useful from your side. So in this session, we are going to deal with our next article, that is Article 13 clause 4. And after that, we will be discussing about Article 14 and 15. Okay. So yes, this session is basically important for your some mains portion. So in 90 days session or the course, we have already been discussed about the fundamental rights in I think in bits of 4 parts, but this is time within 50 minutes I only will be discussed about the Article 13, 14 and 15. Okay, so yes, basically this session will be going to be very lengthy, and again I just want to make clear, this session is useful for your pre and mains as well as your interview. Okay, so let's start this session. Yes, fundamental rights. Okay, and this is part third or part 4, I think part third. Okay, part third. So this thing basically covered in the part third of the constitutions, and the article, if we just talk about the articles of the constitution, the articles is the 12 to 36, and yesterday we have been discussed about Article 12 and 13. Okay, so one thing, yesterday I just explained one thing, that is what about the Article 13(1), and what are the case which is basically associated with the Article 13(1) clause 1, and what are the case which is basically associated with the Article 13 clause 2 and 3. But right now we have a Article 13(4), which is basically added to our constitutions in 24th CAA, that means Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, in 1971. So in 24th CAA 1971, which is basically we can say the time of the Indira Gandhi. Okay, in that time when this amendment was taken place, in that time the CAA 24th CAA, okay, 24th CAA 1971, the Parliament have a power from to make laws with respect to Article 13, and no one means judiciary cannot means we cannot challenge these laws in the judiciary. So simply we can say Article 13, which basically deals with the laws, okay, and the laws, all types of laws, means we can say the notifications, orders, or we can say the acts, the guidelines, not guidelines, okay, all those ordinances, but not except those guidelines, acts, rules, or regulations are not instructive in nature. So 24 CA basically talks about when by using article by using article 368 by using article 368, and when we amend the laws, in that time, and when we formulate the laws in that laws, we simply can say we can't challenge to the court which laws, and that laws basically come from the CAA. CAA means Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, so 24th CAA basically talks about the by using 368 article. Basically 368 article, we use this article in terms of the Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, so after the next session we will be discussing about this particular article, but in today's session I just want to discuss about the Article 13, what is it is all about. Okay, so Article 13 clause 4 came up with reflection to the Article 24th CAA. Okay, with the reflection to the CAA. Just a second. Yes. So what about this? So next thing, when we formulate the laws by using the Article 368, those laws can't be challenged to the court. So here the Article 13 clause 4 comes into the being. Why? Because there was an amendment of 24th CAA 1971. Okay, so what happened basically, by using the Article 368, we formulate the laws, and those laws can't be challenged to the court. Okay, so Article 30 clause 4 talks about this laws can be challenged to the court or not. Okay, so basically 13 clause 4, which is added by the 24th CA and 71, and Article 13 clause 4, which basically talks about the laws. Yes, there are multiple of laws. Okay, but the laws which is basically formulated by the using of Article 368, yani means we can say the constitutional laws, simply we can say, which cannot be challenged to the court. Okay, so yes, very good afternoon, because laws. Okay, so these laws can't be challenged. Okay, can't be challenged to the court. Okay, I think you are getting my point. So Article 13 clause 4, which is basically added in the 24th CA 1971 by using Article 368. Okay, and these laws cannot be challenged to the court. That is a main crux of this particular amendment. Okay, but again the question arises, but what about the laws? What about the laws which basically come into the being by using the Article 368? Yes, and what about the validity of such kind of laws. So the question mark again arises for the validity of the laws. The question mark arises with respect to the is the amendment laws are valid or not? Is the amendment laws are valid or not? The question arises because we have already discussed about the acts, rules, regulations, which basically in the form of laws we use, okay, and those laws which are inconsistent or inderogatory with the fundamental rights, that is will be considered will be null and void. Okay, Anil Gautam, very good evening. And yes, the session which is completely going with the English. So in today's session, so I think yesterday and from 2 days, I think you are not there in the class. Is there any issue? So here I just want to make something amendment laws. Amendment laws, is it valid or not? The question arises. Amendment laws which is valid, question mark, or not? So there are multiples of judgment are there. For example, Sajjan Singh case, for example, Sankari Prasad case 1951, Sajjan Singh case 1965, Golnath case 1967, Kishore Bharti case 1920. Yes, but completely English. I think very few people like this type of sessions because numbers of aspirant just like the bilingual classes. So I right now I'm just thinking about that Anil Gautam is only one aspirant, or Sumit Tiwari, who just like the session in completely in English. Okay, so yes. So the question arises: amendment laws are valid or not? Amendment laws are valid or not? Yes, valid or not? The question is arises. So there are multiple judgment, multiple cases are there. For example, we have a first the Sankari Prasad case. Sankari Prasad case. We are discussing about the Article 13 Clause 4. Only 13. Yesterday we have already discussed about Article 13 Clause 1, 2 and 3. Right now we have a Article 13 Clause 4. After that we move to the Article 14, again 15, 16. Okay. So yes, because this session which is for the pre and the mains, that's why the session is become more lengthy and lengthy. Okay. So Sankari Prasad case of 1951, which basically talked about the amendment laws, or the laws which is basically come into the being through the amendment, we cannot challenge to the court. Means this case which basically discussed or talked about the amendment laws, we cannot discuss, or simply we can say the Sankari Prasad case validated the Article 13, or we can say the laws which is basically made from the by using the Article 368. The Sankari Prasad case validated those laws, or simple we can say the laws. I'm just talking about the amendment. Which type of amendment? CAA. That is CAA, the Constitutional Amendment Act, CAA. Okay. So laws cannot be challenged, means can't challenge. Okay. Now the next part, that is the, I just move to the second slide. The second case is that is Sajjan Singh case. Sajjan Singh case. Here the 1965, again the judgment of the Sankari Prasad case, the upheld by the this case, that is a Sajjan Singh case. Again, we cannot challenge the laws which is basically come from the amendment side. Okay, so that is the next point. Is we can say upheld held. But finally, after the death of the Jawaharlal Nehru, the Golaknath case, the Golaknath case. Again, this case is we will be discussing in the topic of the basic structure of doctrine. But right now we have Article 13 and Clause 4 are there. That's why I'm discussing this thing. Okay. So Golaknath case of 1967. So this case, why this case was very important? Because this case was completely changed the past judgment. That is he said that the judgment said about the yes, we can challenge the laws which is basically come from the by using the Article 368 amendment. Okay. So this case will basically just turn around the judgment of what basically we have witnessed in the last two judgment. So Golaknath case was here. Next is that is the fourth Kesavananda Bharati case, KSB, that is 1973. Why this is very important? Again, what happens that in this particular judgment, the Supreme Court about the judgment of the 13 bench judgment. Okay, 13 bench judgment. The Supreme Court talked about the yes, we cannot challenge because Supreme Court just upheld the judgment of the Sanjay Prasad case and the Sajjan Singh case. Yes. So Supreme Court upheld the previous judgment of the Sanjay Prasad case or the Sajjan Singh case. Okay. If you have any doubt, then you can do ask any doubt from your side. If you have any doubt, then please in we can say peacefully just watch this session. Okay. So Supreme Court upheld the previous judgment and talk about the yes, we cannot challenge, can't challenge. That means when the laws which is basically come into being by the using of Article 368, that means when we use Article 368 and the laws was formulated, right laws which cannot challenge to the court. That is basically talked about the Kesavananda Bharati case judgment. Okay. Even fundamental right is concerned. Fundamental rights is concerned. Means if there is fundamental rights are there, again we cannot challenge the laws which is basically from the Article 13 to the court. Okay. Yes, you have already heard about the Kesavananda Bharati case are there, and this case basically took a very hard and very great decision in terms of the basic structure of doctrine. But what about the judgment? The judgment is all about the in your the negative sides. Means in terms of negative sides, because there are some aspects which basically discussed yes, fundamental rights which is not the part of the basic structure of doctrine, but the some parts of the fundamental right, but some articles of the fundamental rights which is the part of the basic structure of doctrine. For example, we have Article 20, we have Article 21. Okay, so Article 20, 21, which is basically a we can say the basic structure of doctrine, we can say. Okay, so I hope this clause 4 of Article 13, which is very much clear to all. Okay, so fine. Now move to the second article, that is Article 14. Okay, Article 14. Why Article 14 is very important? Because when you just try to study the polity of the fundamental rights, you just start your the topic or the article with the Article 14, because Article 14 which basically discuss about the right to equality. Okay, Article 14 to Article 18. Okay, combinedly this is talking about the right to equality. Okay, Yes, Article 13, which is basic structure of doctrine. Yes, some articles are there, but whole fundamental rights are not a basic structure of doctrine. Okay, so if the statement is about the fundamental, suppose the prelims, in the prelims, you just face some statement that whole the uh, in simple terms, fundamental rights comes under the basic structure of doctrine. In simple terms, there are no any if that words, no any words. Fundamental rights are the basic structure of doctrine. That is completely wrong. If there are some like I said this, that some provisions or some articles of the fundamental rights are basic structure of doctrine, yes, this is right. Okay, rule of law, equality for law, and equal protection of law, Article 14, which we basically discussed about. Yes. So Article 14, I don't think Article 14 is very short in nature. Yes, I think remaining part, I think we have a 417. 417, okay. So 417 are there, and we have left, I think, approx 40 minutes, approx 40 minutes or 35 minutes. So I think Article 14 takes 30 minutes or approx, I think, because Article 14 is very broad in sense. Okay. So let's move on the next slide on the Article 14. Okay. Please do make the notes of these particular slides, because in one book of M. Lakshmikant, you cannot find some extra facts or some extra details of this particular content. Yes. So in the SSC portions, in the SSC or the other examinations, you have just read about the right to equality, Article 14 to 18. Article 14, which basically talks about the right to equality. Okay, Samanta ka adhikar in Hindi words, you can say. So right to equality, that means in Article 14, you have just read about the equality before law, but I think some of you can heard about the equal protection of laws and rule of law again. So what about the equal protection of laws, and what about the equality before laws, and what are the other aspects are there? Definitely, if after 30 minutes you have a new insights of about Article 14, new insights means yes, you will be knowing some new things of Article 14, and really you will be enjoying after the completing of this Article 14. Okay. So Article 14, Article 14. Article 14, basically in briefly, Article 14 talks about the rule of law, equal protection of law. सर मुझे ऑनलाइन क्लास ज्वाइन करनी है, चालू. I think you are on the right place and you already joined the online classes, so don't worry about this. If you are able to do comment on the comment section, that is basically you are already joined the online classes. Okay. If you are talking about the paid courses, definitely in the end of the sessions I will be discussing about. Okay. So Article 14 basically talks about the rule of law in simple terms, rule of law, and the equality before law and equal protection of law. Okay, equality before law and equal protection of laws. Okay, that's it. No, that's it. Okay, so one by one I will be discussing about the terms rule of law, equality for law, and equal protection of law. So what about the rule of law? Basically, rule of law which is coined or devised by the A.B. Desai from the book of the Constitution of England. Rule of law basically devised by the A.V. Desai from the book of the Constitution of England. Okay, what does it means? This means the supremacy of law. Supremacy of laws means no one is unequal. Everyone is equal, or everyone treats equally. If we just talk about the peoples, normal peoples, or the government officials, or the government side, yes, all the persons, all the government officials, citizens, every people are equal in treatment. Okay, so supremacy of law means law is supreme. Law is supreme. If you are a president, if you are prime minister, if you are IAS officer, and some other person is some general people, or we can say a normal person, the laws cannot differentiate with those peoples. Laws treat equally with both government officials and the normal people. That is the rule of law. Okay, in simple terms. Okay, in simple terms. Okay, now the rule of law. Okay, the rule of law in our constitution, where we can find the rule of laws or the application of the rule of laws, or anywhere is anywhere mentioned the rule of law? Yes. Or is anywhere mentioned the equality terms? Yes. Where the preamble, the two places where the equality terms, the terms equality, or simply we can say the rule of law, not directly rule of law, but in terms of equality, which is mentioned in the constitution, where first is preamble. Where preamble, I just want to recall, in the preamble there are some mention about we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India as a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens. Okay, and justice, social, economic, political, and liberty of thought and beliefs, expression, faiths, equality of status and of opportunity. Equality of status and of opportunity. Remember this thing. Equality. Okay. So the preamble. Next is the Article 14. Article 14, which itself describe the equality. Okay. Only equality. So yes, two places, preamble, and the second one is Article 14. Okay. Okay, fine. Next is the what about the next, for one thing, if we just demand the unequal treatment, suppose if we demand the unequal treatment, or someone demand the equal treatment, suppose there is some demand of unequal treatment, and someone demand is the equal treatment. Please do listen carefully. Equal treatment. What does it mean? It means that unequal treatment means that is a negative connotation, or that means a negative demand. Unequal treatment means, suppose you are rich, I am very poor. Okay, and that is basically shows the inequality. Okay, and if third person is demanding, yes, Sanjeev Naik sir is very poor, and government should help to the Sanjeev Naik sir. Okay, that is a demand of the poor person, from the side of poor person. That means or we can say simply, we can say the 5 apples are there. Okay, and 5 people are there. Okay, and I have to distribute 5 apples to 5 persons, and I just distribute one person of 2 apples. Okay, then that means one person have to compromise. Okay, so that means unequal treatment. Unequal treatment means it is a negative connotation. And this thing is very generic in nature. What is generic? If you had heard about the generic medicine, means this is very general in nature. In simple terms, law is supreme, and supremacy of laws are there. No one is very superior, no one is very inferior. Law is supreme. That is very generic in nature. When we you provide the differential treatment, or the when you just promote the advancement of some particular section, that means positive discriminations are there. Yes, we have we will discussing about the discrimination of Article 15, but right now we have a unequal treatment, that is a negative connotation, and this is very generic in nature, means law is supreme, everything is inferior. Equal treatment basically is a positive connotation, and this is very specific in nature, okay. I think this thing is very very simple. So I think still you have not faced any dilemma with respect to this article, but if we just talk about the unequal treatment, here we have Article 14 clause 1, Article clause 14 clause 1, which basically deals about the we can say the equality before law, which basically deals with the equality before law. Okay, there are Article 14 clause 1 and 2. You only heard about the Article 14 and you just skip the clause 1 and clause 2. But yes, there are clause 1 and clause 2 are there. Article 14 clause 2, which basically talks about the equal protection of laws. One is EBL, equality before law, and second one is equal protection of laws. No, there are in every article of 100 there are some exceptions. Yes, there are some exceptions, but in the Article 17, in the Article 17 means untouchability, there are no any exceptions. Means the Article 17 which is applied to all state as well as the citizens. So there are no any exceptions are there. Only untouchability. Okay. Yes. So Article 14 clause 1, equality for law, unequal treatment, negative connotation, generic in nature. Article 14 clause 2, EPL, that means equal protection of laws, equal treatment are there, positive connotation are there, specific law, and this is very specific in nature. Okay, so this is the okay, so this is all about. Now why there is a need of we can say the positive discriminations, or we can say the differentiations are there. Why there is a positive means, in simple terms, equal protection of laws. If we just segregate or just we express this term, that is equal protection of laws, that means yes, we need to differentiate treatment to some other sections, or we can say there are some classifications, there are some needs to classifications, because if we do not have some classification, we cannot treat some disadvantaged sections differently. So yes, to fulfill the demand of the equal protection of laws, or the Article 14 clause 2, we need to treat differentially to some other castes of some other particular sections. Article 17 is only article which is against individual. No. Article 17, which is basically there is no any exceptions, there is no any reasonable restrictions. But if you are talking about the against only individual, there are some other articles are there. There are article like Article 32 treats about habeas corpus. If you detain by the some individual, police groups, or some sections, there are some mention about individual as well. So yes, individual are there. Okay, or simply you can use the article 19. So article 19 basically movement, about the movement, expression, speech, which is basically from the individual side as well. Okay, yes, absolute in nature. Yes, this term is very perfect. But against individual, that is the another meaning. Okay, so against individual, there's multiple numbers of fundamental rights are there. Okay, we were discussing about. Okay, don't worry. So these are the something. Now come to the next portion, that is a we need a if we need a better public welfare system, if we need a better public welfare system, we must need differentiate peoples. We must need differentiate treatment, not people, differentiate treatment. We need some classification. So why? Because of the better public welfare. Because of the better public welfare, we need a classification, we need a differential treatment. So that's why we need a differential treatment. Okay, need differential treatment. Differential treatment. Okay, again, what happens, there are some cases, are there, to formulate the test, we have a very great judgment, that is a State of Bombay versus FN Balsara case of 1951. State of Bombay versus the FN Balsara case. What this case is really talking about? Yes, this is the question. Now, two tests are there. Okay, two tests are there. What are the tests? Basically, this test come out from the judgment of the state of this test. Basically, comes out from the judgment of the State of Bombay. State of Bombay. Bombay versus FN Balsara case. FN Balsara case of 1951. So what about the test? So basically there are two tests. So what about the nature of the test? So basically the nature of the test is the in which ground you just make sure that yes, you need to make differential treatment. That is basically a test. Suppose one is a student of class 5 and one is a student of class 12. Class 12 student, class 5 student. Okay, and if you just provide a examination paper, same examination paper of class 12, you just provide same examination paper to both students of class 12 and class 5. What will happen? Basically the class 5th student are not able to attempt the paper because the class 5th student are not aware about the standard of the class 12. Yes, but what about the class 12 student? They are basically he has the advantage because he has already read about this syllabus. But class 5th student, he do not have much ideas about the class 12, not much, no idea any about. So sir, basic structure of constitution. Yes, good question. But Article 14, which basically not comes under the basic structure of doctrine. Okay, so not okay. So next thing, I just want to make here example. So the class 5th student, yes, so the class 6th student, 5th student, he is not able to attempt that paper. Okay, so if you just want to make differentiate, then what you can do for next step? Yes. Right now we we are discussing about equal protection of laws. So we are just making some examples. So right now we have just make example of class 5th and 12th, which basically part of your equal protection of laws. Okay, so don't worry. I earlier said, yes, after 30 minutes you will be aware, you will be just get a very complete knowledge about this particular article 14. So don't worry, Swami Shekhar. Okay. So I just took some example of class 5th and class 12 student. So yes, we have a very differential. We need to treatment of the very different in manner, or we can say we need a classifications with respect to the treatment of the different sections. So in what criterias you just make sure that yes, we have to treat different for class 5th student and we have to treat of class 12 student. Yes, this. So we have just conducted through this judgment, through the judgment of the State of Bombay versus FN Balsara case. This judgment which basically talks about the two tests. Okay, this judgment basically talks about the two tests. What about the test? The first test. The first test is the difference intelligible differentia. Okay. Differentia. Intelligible differentia. Okay. First is, and the next one is the rational nexus. Rational nexus. Okay. What about these two keywords? So intelligible differentia, that means suppose we take an example of the class 12 student, okay, and the class 5th student. Yes, when you just make sure, yes, there are some differences in terms of the class 12th student and the 5th student. If you just differentiate these two group, yes, you just done with from your side, and you have done with the intelligible differentia. You completely differentiate these two sections. That is the first part. Okay, two test means first to differentiate, and the next portion is rational nexus. That means here the 5th student, 5th class student, you need to provide a paper which is for that particular label of the class 5th student. So the 5th student label, you just provide a paper which basically, what about the rational nexus? Nexus means when you classified, okay, and you after the classification, when you classified and you just fulfill why you classified, to fulfill the ends of the 5th standard or needs of the 5th standard. So here we just, what about the nexus? Nexus means when you classified or the classification to end the, sorry, to serve the end, to serve the end. That is a nexus. The nexus between the classification and the end. Okay. Negative mark. Actually, I don't have idea about the negative marks, but the Article 14, yes, this is not part of basic instruction doctrine. Article 32 is part. Okay. Yes, this is a very true. And what about the negative marks? I'm really not aware of about this, so I just have to check there. Okay. classification to serve the end. That is a nexus between the classification and the serve the end. Okay, that is a nexus. Fifth standard, we have to provide the papers of that particular label. That is a nexus. In these portions, we have just classified or differentiate the class 12 and the class student. Okay, so the two tests which we have to conduct from the judgment of the State of Bombay and FN Balsara case of 1951. Okay, so this test basically came out from the judgment of this particular judgment. Okay, so that is the one thing. Now, one date is very, very important. Which date? The date is the 1970. Why 1970? Why 1970? Because 1970 is the we can say the zone or the buffer line which basically differentiate two things, that is the old doctrine and the new doctrine. Old doctrine. What is old doctrine and what is the new doctrine? Yes, old doctrine and the new doctrine. So before the 1970s, there were old doctrine. What is old doctrine? Old doctrine means we have to treat. Sorry, in that time we had to treat the people or the citizen by the rule of law. Yes. So we have to treat the people with respect to the rule of law, means supremacy of the laws. In 1970, before 1970s, there are more very much prevalent of the rule of laws. But after 1970s, the term equality just revised. The various judgment came out. For example, MONIKA Gandhi case are there. MONIKA Gandhi case, which is basically from the Right to Life Article 21. But again, some a little bit connections are there with Article 14. What I will be discussing. So the 1970s new doctrine are there after 1970s. So in new doctrine there are some traditionals. We can say the perspective with respect to the old doctrine. But in the new doctrine, there are some revised form. There are some interpretations of the equality terms. So the new doctrine, we have here the interpretation of the term equality. Interpretation of the term equality. Interpretations and the revised form of the equality. Okay. So one thing. Next thing is the basically judgment is very, very important. That is the EP Royappa judgment, which basically dealt this thing, that is a yes, there is a old doctrine, there is a new doctrine, and the judgment which is come out in the 1974. In the 1974, the judgment is came out, that is the EP Royappa versus Tamil Nadu, state of Tamil Nadu. Okay, this judgment which basically talks about the yes, we have a old doctrine and new doctrine, which is basically dynamic in nature. Interpretation revised, and next word is the dynamic in nature. What terms? Equality. I am just talking about equality, which is very dynamic in nature. Interpretations are there, revised in terms, or again we can say activist nature. Okay, so 4 terms we can use. Activist. So by the judgment of the EP Royappa versus Tamil Nadu of 1974, the equality terms have a very great meaning, or we can say the perspective to deal with the terms equality, which have basically changed with respect to the interpretations, revised with respect to the dynamics in nature, with respect to the activist in nature. So yes, new doctrine here the term equality which is revised, and all doctrine which basically on the basis of the we can say rule of nature, the supremacy of the laws. Okay. Again, one thing in new doctrine, the Article 14 Clause 2, that means equal protection of laws. Equal protection of law, that is basically equality are there. So equal protection of laws are there, that is basically which provide the level playing field. Level playing field, that means positive discriminations are there. So positive discrimination, that means here we use the term, yes, when we use the term equality, that is very dynamic in nature. Equality doesn't means if the government just try to make sure the equality in the territory, it doesn't means the arbitrariness of the laws. Okay, the government needs to ensure the fairness or the equality, the equality in terms of the dynamic or activist or revised or interpretation in nature. Okay, I think you are getting my point. Okay, so this is the all about one thing. Still we have not completed this one. So one judgment are there. Judgment is the Menka Gandhi case. Menka Gandhi case. Menka Gandhi versus Union of India of 1970. Yes, no, 1978. Yes, 1978. So here, the Menka Gandhi, the judgment of the Menka Gandhi case, the Supreme Court adjudicated that yes, we have not using the term arbitrariness, means equality doesn't means we use the laws arbitrarily. It means the equality with fairness. Equality with fairness. So this is basically comes out from the judgment of the Menka Gandhi case. Menka Gandhi case is very important for your Article 21 of the fundamental right is concerned, because you know that after the interpretation of the Menka Gandhi case of the Article 21, you got the new terms, that is you can just use the right to choice. Okay, right to choice, and in the right to choice the very broad meaning of the right to life. Okay, the right to life, that doesn't means just eating, voting, sleeping, and just dead. It doesn't means. It means you have to choice. Right to life has a very broad meaning, and it has a very widest in nature. Okay, so that is all about. So next thing, that is we have a new doctrine. Okay, new doctrine means that it means basically we can say two tests and the reasonableness. Okay, in simple terms, if we just want to make one thing, that is a new doctrine. What is new doctrine? So new doctrine means two tests. What is two tests? Two tests means intelligible differentia and the reasonable nexus. Okay, two tests and reasonableness. That is a new doctrine. Okay, one thing, if you just provide the equal protection of laws, EPL, that means government try to make sure that yes, the government is providing the level playing field for disadvantaged section or those section which is basically inferior in nature. So through the EPL, the government try to make sure the level playing field. What is level playing field? Level playing field is the suppose this is a race. Okay, some persons are there. Okay, ready to run out, but there are some persons, there are some disadvantaged persons which basically very backward in nature, and these persons standing there. Okay, so the government what will do, the government just try to just make sure, yes, these persons are just lifted to this place. Okay, and this lifting to the persons, that is a level playing field. The government just push the persons, yes, this is not your level playing zone, this is your level playing zone. So the government try to just push that particular some persons, and those persons which is basically, we have OBC, we have SC, ST, these are the some disadvantage of backward classes or sections. Okay, so this is all about, I think some little bit things are left still. So tomorrow I will definitely continue with this article 14. So I think 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I think this is very less for this particular article 14. If you just prepare for the mains examination or mains or for the UPSC. So this is all about the things. Okay, I think you are getting my point and everything is clear from your side. If you have any doubt, please do let me know. If you have any doubt, okay, any doubt from your side, please do let me know, or otherwise I just want to say tata and bye bye. Okay, so yes, so this is the right now first the example offering to you, and this is the applications. If you still don't download the applications, go to the Play Store, download the application, just access the all the features which is providing to the from the application side. Okay, so thank you so much. So again, yes, okay, so I think everything is clear from your side, and again we will meet on the next class. So thank you so much, and God bless you.